Call the meeting in order of the Silver Falls School District.
There was one discrepancy.
Yeah, they're good. They got it. Attendance, all present. And we'll have flag salute.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review. I entertain a motion on the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as published.
Second. Been moved and second to approve the agenda as published. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed unanimously. Consent agenda. Again, entertain a motion on it.
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved and second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So approved. Student representatives, J.J. Brown and Adeline Kinsey. Not here?
Uh-oh.
Okay.
They don't love us.
Moving right along. Silver Falls Education Association. I see they're here. Making noise back there, in fact.
Coming in hot.
All right, we can officially say that we've made it halfway through the school year with the added adventure at the end of the semester with the amount of staff and students that were sick. The last time I've seen that many staff and students sick is during a year that shall not be named. But it felt very reminiscent. Last Monday, we had our final of our 3 professional development days. It was a nice mini reunion at the start of the day for our life and staff as we all gathered at the high school here for trainings. Our K-5 friends were doing more curriculum trainings, which, dare I say, I think they're happy to be done with for the school year. At the secondary level, we had various staff in our district present on different topics that they were knowledgeable or experts in, and then we got to teach our colleagues for most of the day. It was nice. I myself was a presenter for 4 sessions for Oregon Tribal History, and it was really just an all-around positive day for us as secondary teachers to be able to get that time to learn from each other. And then the day ended with a couple of hours where we were able to go back to our buildings and kind of share what everybody learned and implement it and actually do something with it, which doesn't get to happen very often either. This year, though, is still exhausting. The upcoming in the spring with the calendar committee being assembled as the new budget gets worked on for the following year, we want to reiterate that licensed staff cannot continue to function at the level we currently are. It is not sustainable. We are surviving, we are not thriving. We repeatedly hear from our members that there is no mental capacity for any extras. We are doing what we can to get through the day, to get through the weeks, and teach our students. We are truly doing the best that we can right now, and trying to not let that show to our students. The busy season is still to come, though, as we enter contract bargaining this spring. Last month, we assembled our SFEA bargaining team, and it includes the following members. We have John Howard, who's an LRC teacher at Butte Creek. We have Jennifer Rios, who's an ELD teacher at Mark Twain and Central Howell. Matt Craig, who's a business teacher here at the high school. Aaron Scott, who's a kindergarten teacher at Mark Twain, also our treasurer. Myself, a middle school social studies teacher at Butte Creek and Scotts Mills. And Danielle Payne, who's a district behavior specialist. So we will look forward to opening up our contract come this spring. That's all we got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did we keep track of a record of the number of students that are ill?
We certainly do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do.
State requirement.
Yeah, we actually did have to close the building. If it gets to 30%, Marion County or Clackamas County, if you're Butte Creek, we will call them if it gets near there, and they determine, they kind of guide us on what we should do.
Yeah.
We do take guidance on that.
Yeah, I heard Colton actually shut down.
Yeah, Colton and Corbett were both shut, closed on the same day.
Okay, it's time for public comment. Do we have anyone in the audience? Do we have anyone online? The wave hand feature. Okay, thank you. Okay. Administrator and staff reports. And Kim, looks like you're first up.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Well, good evening, thank you for being here this evening. Is this the clicker? This does not, it is, looks different than normal.
It's fancy.
Is it fancy?
Let's go up or down.
You're making noises.
Oh, down is the answer, sorry. I always go up when I have a choice. So it's my report for February 9th, 2026. And so this is the agenda for my report. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about my self-evaluation and our upcoming executive session. The date's wrong. Oops, I missed that. Website upgrade, I'm gonna talk about that. And then Ms. Jorgensen is gonna go over some graduation data with you. And then I'm gonna do a quick update on immigration, just so that you know kind of where it stands currently. And not a lot of change on that, but I'll go over it real quick, because since some of you are new on the board, it's probably a good thing for you to know. We are scheduled for executive session on 2/26. Hey, the date's right on this one. And in executive session, I will go over evidence for how I have the progress I've made on my goals. And then you guys will have time to visit about my evaluation. And so that's during the executive session, which will be held after the work session at the next meeting. Any questions on that? Okay. Graduation data. So Ms. Jorgensen's going to come up and talk to you about all the fun things. Oops. So you want this one first, correct?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Good
Okay.
evening. Kim asked me to come and share about our graduation data, and she had the slides were flipped where Oregon came after ours, but I thought we should look at Oregon's first, just as the statewide graduation rates, what they are currently. So statewide is 83%. Then it talks about the 9th grade on track, the 4-year completer and 5-year completer, as you can see there. And then on the next slide shows Silverton High School. So you'll see we're above the state average in all of those areas. Nope.
Sorry. Yeah, we'll go back.
Yep,
there we go.
So as you can see right now, our the 4-year completer rate we have is almost 94%, which is really great. Our counseling team worked really hard at is working currently really hard at really cleaning up some of those systems that we have in place to make sure we can grow those numbers sooner, so the 4-year graduation rate goes up as well. Some of the things I wanted to share that we're doing, first of all, I want to just shout out to our Sequoia Falls team. They're a huge help in helping our graduation rates, helping re-engaging students and helping find different ways to bring them back and get them done, finish high school. We are really focusing on systems this year. Joe Traeger, Joe and Josh was probably I should have rethought those names when we were hiring. Call them something different. Josh is really a systems guy and is really working hard at creating some systems around some tracking and following up with students earlier in the process. So we're catching them before they leave us. So one of the systems we have, he calls it the SST workshop, Student Support Team Workshop, and he calls it a workshop because he has a really long definition that I'll let him explain to you someday. But it's not a meeting. It's really they're all the key players are in the room, and working through every single kid, and they meet every Wednesday. Some Wednesdays they'll last 3 hours or more until they've spoken with about every single student that's needing the support, whether they're brought up from attendance, behavior, grades. We also have an online teacher concern form that teachers can just send it in and say, hey, this student's on my radar, how can, if we can support them. So we've seen, we're getting a lot of success from that. Our 9th grade on track team is meeting once a month, and we're looking real closely at all of our 9th grade students, attendance, grades, and behavior, especially here after first semester's over. We have a good snapshot of where they're at and supporting the students so they enter 10th grade on track to graduate. And then our attendance team, Josh Craig and Esmeralda Moraz, have done a great job this year. They meet every month, also with counselors working on attendance, and they look at data, the systems, what we're doing around attendance. I meant to get our attendance rates, and I didn't have them, but we've seen a lot of growth this year on the work they're putting in. We know if kids are here, there are better chances of graduating. And right now what we're doing is we're meeting with, so they're set up meetings with all the seniors who ended first semester with some need for some growth in their attendance, reminding them as the year goes on and get closer to graduation, it sometimes gets more challenging to get to school for seniors. So really helping support them. So they have 6-week attendance contracts they're setting up with them. A couple of things riding on that contract is their parking pass. That's a big deal, and if you aren't making it to school, we don't reserve a parking spot for you. It's enticing to have a parking spot because we're running low, and so kids have to park at Davison Field and walk, and so kids get excited about losing their parking pass. And then there's a lot of privileges in spring as seniors, so really trying to encourage them through supporting them, and then also putting some things on the table to help entice them to be there. But we're really hoping these things help increase these rates that you're seeing. Our dropout rate, 0.71%, that's something to celebrate. But it'd be great if it was 0. So I don't know if there's any questions?
I just had
Yeah.
one, on track for 9th graders. What defines that?
That they have all their credit. I'm not sure the numbers. I can't remember.
So you have to have 24 credits for graduation total at the end, and they have to have 4 credits of English total, 3 credits of math, 3 credits of social studies, 3 of science. And so when you are completed at the end of freshman year, when ODE checks your transcript or your data, it should show that you have 6 credits. And 2 of those credits, well, 1 for sure needs to be English. So 2 of those core credits need to be in there. So they usually check math and English to make sure students pass those. So that means that 94% of our kids, when we turn data in, we're on track to graduate, which is really, really high.
And means passing those courses?
Yeah.
They've
D
gotten
or above?
They could have a D, they could still have a D, or they could have a pass, but as long as they show a passing.
Can
And
you
they need 6
talk a
credits.
little bit about how to catch the other 6% up, what you're doing?
Well, we have various options. We have, each summer we do a summer school. We do, that's not a summer school. We not each summer, but we do credit recovery during the summer. So when you can see on the 4-year completed rate where it says graduate by 8/31. So last summer, I don't know the numbers, Patrick, do you remember?
63 credits, I think.
But how many kids did we have it last summer for credit recovery?
They earned over 90 credits, and there was over 65 students that
Wonderful.
Okay, so add them backwards.
So that's so that's just a quick, in the summer, some of the kids kind of catch things up. We actually had a kid come in, I'm not sure how many years, he's a couple years out, and he needed to finish a couple things. One of them was a really simple project, and it was just getting him. Kevin Ortega worked so hard and got him in the door. I mean, it's not going to show there, but we were able to help him, get done what he needs to get done. So, it's. And this fall, Kim supported us a ton in going through some lists, and Jen Hannon and Sequoia going through some lists of some kids that were, you lose them, and sometimes it's hard to find, really truly find them and get them back. But we got some growth this year. This fall, we did a lot to get those numbers, get those kids back, and re-engaged one way or another. Sequoia is a huge, we're so grateful for Sequoia. That's helps bring some of the kids back who maybe didn't have a great, go back to the high school. They didn't want to go back to the high school, obviously, but Sequoia has been helpful. So.
Well, obviously, we're doing significantly better than the state average.
Right.
how do we compare to Salem Kaiser?
We actually, our admin team spent time today looking at the just attendance rates for the state, because we were like, does anybody have 100%? And so that's our goal. And we didn't look at like Salem Kaiser, but we looked at our conference. So like Lebanon, and we're,
Yeah, you should look at similar size districts.
yeah. We're ahead of a lot of the schools in our district. So.
What's best in class?
Huh?
What's best in class in those districts?
Probably, I'll send you guys a report. I don't know right off the top of my head,
Yeah,
probably
I
low
don't-
90s.
Probably.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
close then.
right about the same. We were all pretty similar. I mean, there's
Yeah.
Yeah.
across the board. I mean, it's interesting. There's like schools with a 0%. I was like, oh my gosh. But real tiny. A lot of the 100% schools are more like charter schools. Some of them, but it's when you look at your number. I mean, the Silverton High School and Silver Falls School District's doing a great job. But we can
We'd
do
like
better.
100, but
You what?
we would love 100. But,
Right.
But there are
right.
circumstances.
Right.
that-
Yeah. But I feel like if we can, at the end of the day, we can say that we're doing all that to support, getting kids through in 4 years is ideal. But, offering options, which we have, and working with the kids and trying to re-engage them as soon as possible. And we can raise that.
Love how you guys keep track also the CTE concentrator, which has over 98%.
Right, 98%. And we said that was two CTE?
Well, I gotta do more exploration, because one thing I found said 2 and one said 3 credits in a CTE concentrator. Patrick might know.
But-
You think it's 2?
We think
Okay.
it's 2.
Perkins said
It's 2.
3, but Perkins is federal, so might be.
Two, but for 4-year delineations, there's some that are about half credit semester, depending on what they take for that. So there are some, when
Yeah.
we report that for concentrators, but really talking 2.
It is 2.
courses.
Okay, thanks, Patrick.
I want to just say kudos and point out the fact that this is great. This job is just brilliant. I love the parking pass thing. That was just brilliant. But that this is a real celebration for K-12.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is just so cool that the whole district, kind of comes together to create these kind of statistics, which are really darn impressive. I'm super proud.
I had kind of a question, obviously, like everyone else has mentioned, the numbers are fantastic. I always curious about the one. And so for our dropout rate, is there any tracking, like could they have gotten picked up with a different district, or do we know?
We try to track
Yeah.
them, and if they're and find out, like if we had a student this year that was recently that was going to go homeschool, and so we've been checking with ESD to see if they've registered, and make sure they're following through. So we do try really hard to, when we lose them, figure out what where they're going, and if they get in with another school, usually there's a records request. If we don't get a records request, where'd they go? But sometimes there's you can't. Things happen. But
Thank you.
yeah, we're working on it.
Thank you.
Thanks, KJ.
Yeah.
I will add that the high school and Sequoia team did so what happens with ODE is your data opens up in the late fall, so it's like late October, and you have the opportunity until usually it's like the first week of December to go through and see if there are any errors. So Heidi Eberly, the first thing, the minute it comes out, she's looking at it. And so we clean, you have to clean up your data, so if you have any errors. So for instance, we had some of our foreign exchange students that were coding as dropouts, they were coded incorrectly. So we had to go in, and Reed had to change those. So, you have to double check all those errors. So your data can be drastically changed by your process in the fall. So that process is really important. And it really, you could see where we went when you were in that meeting today, Derek and Phil. That was on the board in the high school office where you were, where we were talking about that. And so tracking students when they drop. So ODE tracks students by their SSID number. And so when we have a student that is a 10-day drop or that goes to another school, if we don't get a records request for that student and they don't enroll somewhere else in the state of Oregon, they show up as a drop for us. And that dropout rate is so low because we track those kids and try and figure out where they went. So for instance, if you had a student that went out of state but you didn't know that, and they just show us on your dropout roll, you have to call and find out what happened to the student. It's really, really important. And it's hard in a large high school like this. This is way easier. A lot of times, like in a small high school where you have say you have a graduating class of 50, every single kid and where they went, and, I mean, because it's a smaller amount. It's harder when you're tracking 1,200 kids, and you're not just tracking the 300 that are seniors. You have to track them starting freshman year. So we actually have to check the 10-day drop list on day 10 in the fall to see who didn't come into the building. And then you have to clear all those kids. So it's a constant process of clearing to make sure you have clean data, because the more often you clear them, like starting with freshman year, then like if you let that go and you don't do anything with it and they don't pick back up into the system somewhere, then they'll show as your dropout their senior year. Because so whatever cohort they start with, they're yours until someone else picks them back up, or they go to Job Corps, or they go to some other program. So that is why it's really difficult to be a high school administrator, because that is some of the work they do, and it's delicate, intricate work that is very time consuming, and it's super important because when kids do drop, we want to make sure that they are accessing their education somewhere else. And so sometimes those phone calls will re-engage students. And that's what Jen Hannon's group is really good at. So they might find a student that's like, I was gonna re-enroll, I just haven't done it, and they're like, get in here. Like that makes a huge difference when an adult in the system reaches out to you. So we have really caring, smart people that do that work, and it's a huge team effort. So it takes the counseling team, a lot of people at Sequoia, the high school admin team, people at the district office, the registrar. So it is a huge, all-encompassing process to get that data to look like that.
Congratulations to all.
Yeah. Next thing I'm going to show you, I think these are out of order now because I backed up for KJ. Oops. Okay, so ODE, go back. I don't really need that slide, but there we go. Immigration guidance from ODE. So they gave us some tips about if we have ICE officials on campus. So we are to ask for a judicial warrant. So we are not allowed to allow ICE officials into the building without a warrant. So this is the same verbiage we have in our district policy for any type of federal agent. So even if the FBI came in, the CIA, whoever, we're like, do you have a warrant? Because they are outside entities that don't know our students or our community. And so, we have to have a warrant for them to talk to our kids. And so that is an important part of ODE's guidance. So that is pretty much what we have shared with our community. We have, just like if any other agency comes in to talk to a student, say they did have a warrant, we ask for their badge number, their identification, all those different things. And we record those. So when like Child Protective Services comes in to talk to interview a student, we record all those things. There's actually a form we fill out. So we are just basically following our district policy in these cases. And so I just want to let you guys know nothing has really changed since I originally presented this last February. There are some bills in the legislature that might give some adjustment to this, and I'll keep my eye on it if it does. And we did have, students reach out to us and with concerns about what did they do if they were approached outside of our environment, because kids are out in public sometimes. So, we gave coaches some tips on what to do if they were out at an event and the kids were approached or scared, and have, good safety processes in place, which coaches should have anytime they're out and about anyway. And so we do have stuff on our website that students can access if they have questions, and there are resources for family on the website. Questions?
No. To your knowledge, has there been any cases in Oregon of ICE coming to schools, themselves?
Westland Wilsonville had ICE on campus at a basketball game or a football game. Football, I think it was. It was in the fall. McMinnville had a student that was detained during a coffee run at Dutch Brothers, but not on campus. So there have been some isolated incidents. It's not very common. We haven't had any issues at all. Yeah, and we hope that our students feel comfortable to come into the building, and we want our attendance to go up. We don't want our attendance to suffer. So it's important that we provide these supports for students that are uncertain about what that looks like.
Okay.
You guys have a document in your packet tonight on our website, platform migration. So Kelly Scott's been working, how long has she been working on this, Debbie? A year. Yeah, I think like mostly a year. And she's been rebuilding our website. So our website wasn't ADA compliant. It had some issues with it. It had some color issues that made it hard for people. And so Kelly has gone completely through and redone our entire website, and it's really beautiful and it's really easy to use. And the really interesting part is that, though it took 8 months, she has it on here. She did about 150 hours, and it launched in December, and I can only think of a tiny handful of issues that we had. So she did such a good job migrating it, and she works for the ESDs. She's on we use her for communication, so we have her 1 day a week. She comes in on Tuesdays. And she did a lot of research about how things should be loaded. She did a lot of stakeholder meetings, and we actually used a platform that corresponds with Parent Square, so it actually is housed by Parent Square now, which is kind of cool because when we post something on Parent Square, then it goes into the district news feed. So it has some really cool features, and we spent months working on it. And we just really think it's beautiful, and it's easy to find things. Like I have had zero problems, everything's moved around on there, but I've had no problem finding what I need to on there. So she did an excellent job. So that packet is in there for your review, and if you have any questions about that, just reach out to me.
No, I was going to comment, it does look nice. I had similar problems, it sounds like maybe you did. I haven't had any trouble finding anything. It's just getting out of the habit of what I was used to, where I was looking for it in the old one. And so, but it seemed very intuitive. Could find it pretty easily once I looked.
Yeah, the one error we had was related to you guys. So Wally's email went to a previous board member.
Yeah.
And I don't remember, maybe it was Daniel's, went to a previous board member. So we fixed those, and we updated a few things, but very few issues. So you guys were the problem child.
Did I miss an email?
I don't think so.
It's just under the table.
No, your email was actually working fine. It's just if they clicked it on the site, then it went to the other email. So it was just the link to you. Yeah, so if a parent had clicked on you specifically, I'm gonna email Wally, then it would have gone to Aaron Cook.
But if it was sent to the school board, it
Yeah.
went to all the right people.
Yeah, if it had been sent to the school board, or if they had typed in your email, it would have been fine. It was only the link, so we fixed all that.
How does this work, Kim, I'm looking at Butte Creek right now, and the schedule looks really good. Is that Kevin that's talking to Kelly? Like, how does that work? I mean, we got boys basketball games up on the calendar for the school. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, well, Kelly trained everybody on how to use it, and so she worked with office managers,
So
and she trained everybody, and she trained building principals, and so there's multiple people inside each building that know how to update that website. So that's kind of a neat thing, that they can update their own school website. And then she does the district part for us. Although I can get on there and put things on, but I try not to because I don't want to mess up her stuff.
Do we have it that teachers can even,
Not quite that far out. Yeah, no, it's just primarily the office manager, I believe, and the principal.
back in the dark ages, I was able to put out my own stuff under my name.
Yeah, I believe
So-
that, yeah.
That's
We-
back
if
when
they-
it was still dial-up.
Yeah, if they needed something, we would definitely
Yeah.
try and get that on for
Yeah.
them. And that is it for me, I think.
Okay.
Any questions? Thank you.
Okay. Tom, next subjects are yours.
Okay.
Oh, the clicker for you. Yeah, it's new, watch out.
Wow.
Use the down button.
Get a new
Next slide.
clicker and
No.
messes everybody up.
Oh, there it is. I will begin with the enrollment report. This is as of February 1st. We have a change of one student net. Probably the biggest change is the high school lost 3 and the hybrid program gained 4. So obviously a correlation there with the 2. But other than that, really not much change for the month. Still headed towards plus 1% year over year. On to the finance. Really no news for revenues, which is probably the good news for there. I will talk about the state revenues. The February-March revenue forecast was presented to the legislative finance committees. The net state general fund revenues are up more than 286 million than the December forecast that just happened recently. So that's good news. A couple months ago, they were talking still about a budget shortfall, $750 million or so at the state. That's now projected to be less than 500 million and may continue to decrease. Oregon is continuing to look at disconnecting its tax code from the federal tax code, something we've chatted about several months ago. If that goes through, that's an additional 300 million or so, which will be added to projections. So Jackie Olson summed it up really great. I mean, it's a lot of things are as good as we could hope for right now. It doesn't look like reductions from ODE this year. But still ahead because of the HR1 Big Beautiful Bill. There still are projected significant cuts to Medicaid and SNAP, and their impacts are still unclear. So that all has to be sorted out, and the timing of that, which is likely to begin next year, is still to be determined. On the expenditure side, not much change from last month. It still looks like we're spending significantly less than last year, but that's a little bit convoluted. As last year we had the TAN loan in the budget, so the numbers don't quite match. Year-over-year differences in year-to-date spending aside, we're projected about the same end-of-year spending as we said before, maybe increased just a little bit, which is when we add in the cost for things like the 220 laptops that are 10 years old. We're going to start testing a Chromebook version of that, which could potentially work really well for the majority of teachers. So the timing of purchasing is still up in the air on that, and some of the other expenses. Our capital costs are likely to be more than last year. We're already well above budget, especially with some equipment purchases, smaller purchases like HVAC controls and other things that we've had to have on the budget this year. So the projection would be about 54 million in revenues, and we're looking at, of course, we're just in the beginning of February, but if we were to project it out, about 52.4 million in total expenditures. So right now that looks like it would give us an approximate add of 1.6 million. If the beginning fund balance was near 3.1, that gives us an ending fund balance projection right now of about 4.7 or above 8%. So again, OASPO recommends the 3 to 8% range, so that gets us to the top of that target. So that's the kind of the financial piece. I do want to talk about the audit that we received, and that was in your board packet. Really enjoy working with Clear Trails. Clear Trails is really kind of part of Roy Rogers' firm, and which became so big they kind of had to split off a whole group, and a lot of Clear Trails focuses on school districts and other smaller local government entities. The email addresses for Connor and Kenny are there in the slides, and they mentioned that you are welcome to email them with any questions. They are very busy. There are a lot of school districts that are in the news at the moment in terms of financial stuff, and the auditors are busy giving reports, so they're not here giving a report to us, but they are available, and if there are specific questions or anything that comes up, they're more than happy to set up a meeting, like at a work session, et cetera. So yeah, we really enjoyed working with them. For the last fiscal year, our district received what is called an unmodified or clean opinion. This is the highest of 5 levels the auditor will give you. Simply put, this means our financial numbers are reliable, our financial statements are fairly presented in all material aspects. There are no misstatements, or put another way, there are 0 incorrect numbers, as they like to say. I sound like a CPA. Auditors also review our internal controls. So important part is for them to go in and spot check how decisions are made. They look at making sure there's a separation and segregation of duties, proper budgetary controls and budgetary oversight, proper authorization and approval controls, such as the superintendent seeing the appropriate level of all purchasing contracts, POs, et cetera. Cash receipts, deposits, they all have to reconcile and match to all the bank statements. Payroll controls, making sure they have the proper authorization before new hires are made, and making sure there's no commingling and proper tracking of grant revenues and grant expenditures. Overall, what I feel is kind of the main takeaway from the auditor's financial report is the improved financial stability of the district. The net position, which looks forward, that's kind of our financial position with a forward view, takes into account long-term liabilities, such as PERS, and helps shed light on the question of how much of our future is spoken for financially, or what is our financial capacity future forward. Our net position improved by $5 million from a negative $7.7 million to negative $2.8 million. So please keep in mind that the negative net position is actually really common for school districts because of PERS, because we have to take into account on the balance sheet all the future liabilities. And our number is pretty small compared to others out there. I think Hillsborough has negative 90 million, Portland is negative 550 million. So there's quite a range.
What about among districts our size?
Hood River, I think, is our size there, negative 10 million.
Wow.
So he mentioned to me there's very few that are kind of above ground. There was also a change in some of the GASP rules, which further impacted that. But that's really getting into the weeds of how they do all the accounting of future liabilities. So that's probably story number one. I put together this graph, which is kind of a historical view of our overall financial net position. We are at the best position we've been at since the 2018-2019 school year, with that 2.8 negative million. And I put the dotted line there so that you could see what the 2023-2024 fiscal year would look like without the TAN loan. So it shows you kind of that dip downwards. So I think that's kind of highlight number one. Highlight number two is to think about our fund balance and how important the fund balance is. Because I mentioned the net financial position looks forward, the fund balance looks backwards. And it acts as a measurement of past decision, acts as a measurement of past planning. The general fund is the key metric. It helps offset uncertainty and acts as a cushion of sorts. So as we've mentioned previously, this last year we came fairly close to doubling it from 1.6 million in FY24 to 3.06 million this last year. So last year we ended at about 6.6% of that range, the 3 to 8%. And then this is really amazing. Here is our historical general fund balance measured as a percentage of operational expenditures. So not in dollars, because dollars change over the years in terms of their weight. So if you look at it in terms of the percentage, the dotted line is where we would have been without the emergency TAN loan. And what's interesting, without the TAN loan, it would have been 5 years in a row, really, of kind of those decreases. And just a reminder from the beginning of my update, we are headed to an almost 8.9% ending fund balance for this year, as we projected right now, all the things that we know, at least at this moment. So again, really, really good news. Our auditors present a report to us. They also write a letter to the Board of Education. And it's pretty much the same thing, but it also gives them a chance to kind of give their opinion of things independently. It's not supposed to be super secret. You know, I could share kind of the three main ones that they shared. And I found it really interesting. The first one is that our finance and accounting business team is fairly lean for a district our size. In the past, I've noticed a lot of our positions have kind of had a lot of siloing, and there wasn't a lot of sharing of duties or sharing of knowledge. So if somebody were to suddenly leave, others could feel kind of high and dry. They don't know how something was done. So this past year, we've really tried to concentrate on kind of seeing the org chart as being concentric circles and sharing knowledge, sharing processes, kind of constant training and backing each other up. That's kind of our approach to being able to take on a lot of the increased workload and the more complex issues that have come up. The second challenge, we've talked about this before, is the PBAM. This is that accounting manual that ODE wants to change. And we already have this long account string for our coding that's 24 digits or something. They were talking about increasing it as much to 40 or something like that. We just do not have the capacity in the system to kind of make that change. So that's kind of a threat in terms of our workload and how our system works. The latest news on that is ODE is looking seriously at paring that down. So maybe going from 20 to 40, it's more like 20 to 30 or 20 to 28.
What's their why are they advocating for it?
Why?
Yeah.
Accountability.
Yeah, it's accountability. They were audited by the feds, and there were some things missing in terms of how things line up based upon those codes, and how you can show the combination of expenditures to revenues, tie-in grants, and other different types of programmatic information that should be apparent in your budgetary codes. I hope that made sense because I memorized what that soundbite. And so they're trying to do as much as they can with as little as possible added on to it, I think is the approach. The other thing, thanks to our superintendents who have advocated for all the business managers and CFOs, thanks to OASBO and all the advocation from Jackie Olson, is ODE is starting to own the responsibility of helping the districts make the change.
Good, that's my next question.
And the training,
They weren't going to.
and the helping with there's several main ERPs that every, the systems, the financial systems that every school district uses. So the more that ODE just accepts that they're gonna have to help with that and provide some resources, we're all gonna win. Without that, especially for some school districts right now that are really in dire financial straits, they can't make the change. It's just gonna be too much. The third thing that they noticed is that if they're thinking about financial risks, from their point of view, the biggest financial risk is just the amount of square footage we own as a district, which is a fair statement. The average age is 50 years. We're in the building business as well as the people business. And they just note that the required current and future maintenance and future repair costs will potentially be more than what our reserves could ever put together, especially outside of the bond. So those are the kind of the three notes to the Board of Education. So
Great job.
Yeah,
For whole
congratulations. Seriously, and what a journey the last couple of years for this district.
I'm new, so I had nothing to do.
I keep trying to say that too.
Questions for me?
I do. Hey, Tom. I'm just super conflicted about policy DBDB, which is our reserves.
Yeah.
And also knowing we have 2 contracts popping up. And I don't have any solutions. Once again, we have a policy we're not going to be able to hit. And we're going to either have to change it, because ours says 10%. We're not even at 8% right now.
In fact, our policy says 10% of all,
It
Total
says
adopted
All
revenues.
funds.
All funds, not
All
general
funds.
funds.
So
which
that's
makes
the
no sense
86.
because there's money that passes from fund to fund outside the general
Yeah.
fund. So
Yeah.
I think, and we did talk about this
We talked about it.
months ago.
yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
I
get
think
that
we need
updated
to
this year.
Take a look at that and
We
bring
still
us a
need to update
proposal
that.
for change on that.
Yeah, we could,
So-
that's a pretty easy update, and we actually are well within the range of what OASBO recommends.
Yeah.
I still would encourage us to stay at 10%,
Sure.
not the 8.
Sure, the range is important because of the flexibility. You can have a, a
That's
goal
fair.
outside of that in the year, but you need that range. I would recommend something that's kind of, and maybe I said this before, something that's analogous to between 4 and 8%, with no less than 4% is unappropriated, which means you can't spend it unless, remember the natural disaster or civil
Right.
uprising or whatever the legal definition. It's really locked away. If you lock away your whole 10%, you remove the flexibility in a year to make things like the chiller blows up and you need to fix it. That actually wouldn't qualify for you to spend the fund balance for that.
Can't the board make a change at that point?
Um,
I think that has been done.
It
in the
is
past.
really not recommended. Also, fund balance levels are connected to cash flow needs from year to year. That's one of the basis for determining a range. For us, that's not really the issue. We have a lot of facility repairs and stuff like that. So it's not so much the general fund having reserves, it's probably us having a strategy to build a capital reserve as much as we can and have that be really a long-term strategy that we try to put money. The general fund wouldn't be where we'd try to put all those dollars for capital needs. We'd want to sock it away in a capital fund where
Right.
we have defined its purpose and we have defined its strategy. Because we get 2 monthly payments in July from ODE, and because our payroll is so small in the summer, because a lot of teachers don't start until August, September, or whatever, the cash flow for us is actually really easy. The percentages needed is really small. I used the analogy before of a fire district. That's the worst, because they don't get any money
we
until
don't
the
get
property
anything in
taxes come in November. So therefore, their fund balance is like 30% is their goal, because they have to have all that cash to cover July 1st through November.
So Tom, kind of adding on that, no unforeseen disasters, like projecting out, are you anticipating this continue to be solid another 3-6 years?
Based on the limited information we have yet, we still have to wait on ODE and their potential reductions to grants like SIA or high school success. That's still a possibility. How that will impact us is still unclear. If you put that aside and say that the state is still recovering, and the doom and gloom about their budget deficit, let's say that's kind of mediated to a significant degree, I can see us definitely being in that range for some time, which is not the same case with other school districts. But keep in mind, my opinion is a lot of the school districts that you're hearing in the news making reductions and having kind of a financial crisis of sorts with their budget, it's exactly the same forces that we had. Ours were just 2-3 years ago. They probably made decisions to just kind of punt that down the road a little bit, and now they're facing it. I think there's a certain degree of that in the mix.
Yeah, it's a complicated, the budgeting is a complicated thing. And I think, you have to keep in mind that we have some pretty high facilities needs in the district. You're gonna see that when we get through the long-range facilities planning. And whether we pass a bond or not, which that's yet to be seen, I think we have to start prioritizing and having a 1, a 5, and a 10-year list about what we are going to work on in the district, so that we are managing it as we go. Because our facilities team and our maintenance team does a really good job, but if we don't give them the funds to, prioritize ADA or other different things that need work in the district, then their hands are tied. So we have to be able to, but we still have to manage our instructional needs. And, we have a group of kindergarten kids that are coming in that are going to need extra support. And so we're going to have to prioritize a little FTE probably for our incoming kinder friends that they're going to need extra support. Brennan already had some information on that group that's coming in next fall. So.
No, as Tom stated, the capital improvement, putting money there, and I think I'm pretty safe in saying, at least as far as I'm concerned, that capital improvement fund with the stage of our buildings and everything will be negligent if it isn't zero when the year ends. I mean, we need
Correct.
to spend that.
Yeah.
And it's also for the emergency, the things that we don't know, the
Yeah.
timing of which such and such is gonna, what chiller is gonna implode, or we find out the roof needs to be replaced today, Okay, those are really tough choices to make when you don't have a reserve set aside.
All right.
There was one statement here that I was curious about that I don't quite understand. I'll just read it real quick. It says, the school district's operating expenses are predominantly driven by employee salaries and benefits, with 84% of staff compensation covered by 2 separate collective bargaining agreements. This heavy reliance on a limited number of agreements exposes the district to financial and operational risks. What do they mean by limited number of agreements? Is it common to have more than 2? I don't quite understand.
When I was at PCC, I think they had 6. So, I guess there are other, but yeah, that might be kind of generic language that they kind of put in, and I can find out for you.
Yeah,
Just
that would be-
page
that's
50.
Typical in a school district.
That's what I was
Yeah,
thought. I
yeah.
just said, why would they put that in there? You know, it also are number of compensations. So.
It would make more sense if it was only one.
Yeah.
If you had one agreement covering everybody. But I'll ask, but we can certainly get their information. I can share it with you.
Some of our employees are not covered under the union, so like administrators and confidential and some of those other.
Forgive me if this has already been discussed at a previous board meeting, but just kind of reading through it, I was wondering, could you explain to me what compensated absence balances are?
That's
and why
the-
we have 100,000 increase from one year to the next?
Yeah, that's the GASB 101, and I
Okay.
have a PDF I can send you that explains it from the auditor, and that is really getting into the weeds of
I was
CPA
just
kind of
curious.
language of how they did that. Without GASB 101 and having to put on our books the liabilities of compensated absences, that's the equivalent of $4 million negative in net position. So our net position would actually be positive 2 million or something. So every district had to accommodate this new GASB accounting rule this year. And I think it's viewed as kind of like collected leaves that you have to accommodate them on your balance sheet as a potential liability, and there's this methodology, and the auditor says it's one of the most confusing things. Nobody really gets it 100%, but there's kind of step-by-steps how you calculate it, and so everybody's just kind of following it.
Is it
But-
because of paid leave Oregon?
I don't know if it's really, I think it's a general nationwide GASB thing, but the clarity of the why is not there, so that is frustrating for a lot of people, but I'll share with you what I received.
Do you think it's partially trying to get a better, accurate picture of like actual liabilities? Because that is a portion of like compensation that if it, everyone use it all at the same time, here's what it would actually cost you. Do you think that's part of what they're getting at?
I did bring a cheat sheet.
I mean, that would be my mind of like, okay, you can have a better understanding of your entire financial picture if you understand
Understand the risk.
the risk.
So I did bring a cheat sheet. Yeah. So under prior rules, school districts recorded only the portion of unused leave that was expected to be paid out that term. Under the new rules, unused employee leave, such as sick leave and vacation, which is part of it, have to be recorded in terms of future liabilities. And there's a methodology to calculating what that is as a total.
So is this because of legally people can claim them later? Or are they rollover, or is it by contract?
The employees collect all that sick leave, and so that's a financial risk on our part.
No, I understand that part. But if they're not paid out.
Right, you still have to report it, even if it will not be paid out for many years,
It's a
which is
liability.
really
So
what,
it is carried forward then.
right, it's a real
Okay.
forward view, which is kind of muddied the waters for people being clear on the why behind it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and there's extra liability for districts when employees are out of, when they're on sick leave or whatever, because we end up subbing and hiring guest teachers for some of those positions, so it costs extra money when we have someone out.
And they want to make clear that it doesn't create a new obligation, it's just how it's put
Report.
into how it's put into the financial statement
So
for
the difference
particular-
from the year previous to this year, that's not really, that increase of 100,000 isn't really, that's just. the
It's implemented
accrual.
this year, so now it hits
Gotcha,
the methodology is
Alright,
different for
thank
this
you.
year. Yeah. Fun stuff, accounting rules. Thanks very much.
Okay. Thank you. And now we're into discussion items, and we have our budget committee vacancies. We have 4 vacancies. We're terms up. These are 3-year terms, and we ended up with 4 applicants for those positions. And traditionally, they've applied. We've all had an opportunity to read their applications, and then we asked them to attend meetings so we could, ask questions. Obviously, that part of it is a higher priority when we have more than people applied than we have positions. But still, we wanted to go through the same process. And we have Sarah Brown is up, and she's with us virtually. Do we have her, Daniel?
Hello.
Hello, Sarah. And we'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself, why you feel qualified for the position, and why you would like the position.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you've had the chance to see what I submitted, and I apologize, I'm not on camera. The controls just changed. I didn't have any until just a minute ago, so I'm going to focus on answering your question here. A little bit about me. I have 2 students in the district at 2 different schools, so I have, I guess, some good diverse insight into what a couple of our schools at least are experiencing. I am a business owner and have been a nonprofit executive and served on a number of boards over the past decade and a half. Currently, I am on the executive leadership team of the Oregon Food Bank and am a leader at a nonprofit that serves Oregon's rural communities. So I have quite a bit of experience managing and overseeing budgets, and really consider myself somebody who is not afraid to ask hard questions. And my application speaks a bit to some relevant experience here in the district, where I served as board chair of one of our charter schools for about 3 years, I believe, while they navigated some difficult financial decisions. And I've since stepped down from that role and am interested in engaging more at a district level, and this seemed like an opportunity to pursue that. So I put my name in the hat, and here I am. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have for me.
Okay, any board members have any questions? Okay, nothing. Okay, the application was very thorough, and you've covered all the bases, and so I think we're good. So thank you
Nice
very
to
much.
meet you all. Yeah, I'll
Yes.
try to get my camera working here now, although I guess I might be taken off as a panelist, so.
Oh, okay, that's
If I
okay.
stay on, I'll try to get my camera working and wave to you, but.
Oh, okay.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Okay, and then we have Kyle Palmer, but Kyle is sick, and so he will not be with us tonight. Eamon Sabo is unable to attend tonight. And Gary Cedar, you are here, present? Okay, Gary, come on down. And if you could just do the same, introduce yourself and qualifications and why you'd like to do it.
Hello, my name is Gary Cedar. I have 2 daughters that attend Silverton High School. I've been in part of the financial world, public and private sector for 15 years. I'm currently a fiscal analyst with the state of Oregon at the Oregon Department of Transportation. And I have been in the past. I was on the advisory council at St. Luke's School in Woodburn. And this just seems like something that I'm interested in with the issues that have been going on in the district that I've been reading about. I just think with my experience, it's just something I'm very interested in. I'd like to learn more how the district works, know the ins and outs of the budget. I don't have the resume that the previous person had, but I'm open for any questions if anyone has any.
Any
Just a
questions?
comment, you're in the hot seat at ODOT, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these issues I heard were pretty familiar with what we're going through right now.
Yeah, good times.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
Okay.
most certainly appreciate you willing to serve, volunteer time, because I'm pretty sure you're pretty busy right now with other things. and
Yeah, we have a lot
Appreciate
going
it.
on, yeah.
Definitely.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good shirt,
Thank you.
by the way.
Thank you.
Thank
Go
you.
Beavs.
Yeah, good color
Thank you for coming
combo.
Go Beavers.
Go Ducks.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, public comment. Do we have any public comment here? Do we have any online? Oh, okay. Okay. And action items then, okay, so we have the, fill in our 4 vacancies. I would.
That's going to be difficult.
I would propose it would be fine to make one motion with all 4 names, since we have 4 positions, unless someone wants to separate one out.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in any of the resumes.
Right.
and
Hopefully you all got a chance to
red
read through
flags
those.
or anything like that, so.
And, okay, I'll entertain a motion of,
I
I'll
so
make the
motion.
motion.
Appointing.
I'll make the motion to appoint all 4 candidates as presented. Sorry.
And I second.
Thank you.
Been moved and seconded to appoint all 4 members that applied to the position of the Budget Committee. Those would be Sarah Brown, Gary Cedar, Eamon Saboy, apologize, Eamon, if I'm getting it wrong, and Kyle Palmer. Any discussion?
No, just a quick comment, just appreciate people willing to step up and serve in that capacity.
Yes.
So thank you to the 4 folks that applied.
Yeah, pretty high-paying job. Okay. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, nay? Ayes have it. And Debbie, you will take care of notifying those 4 people? Gary knows now, but the other 3 people? Okay. And dates and everything that they need to worry about? Okay, thank you. Future agenda items, are there any?
I always like to try to do this at the end of those non-agenda. Just like a quick touch up on like strategic plan, long range, how things are going on your end, Kim, since I know some of the board members are on there, but I'm curious how strategic's going and how close we are.
It's going well. We have a draft vision and a draft mission statement. So we're working on the tagline next, which I love our current tagline, so I don't know if we'll change that or not. I really like that. And then we're working on goals this week, or next week. So we have 3 meetings back to back next week. We have strategic planning, we have long range facilities, and we have the open house at Victor Point. So we have a busy week next week. And so that'll be a good time for us to solidify some of those strategic planning and long-range facilities items.
Comment on that. I know that you're putting your team an incredible amount of hours in the meetings in a week. So not only are you there every day, all the meetings afterwards, I mean, it's a lot of work. And then you have to drive home. So thanks, Kim.
Yeah, don't call me in July, not answering. Out.
Good. Okay. We are
Well,
adjourned.
one more thing. Several meetings ago, and it's probably been 2-3 months, Josh asked for some information or discussion around dress code and student discipline. We haven't heard anything on that. Are we still working on that, or?
We just haven't had the bandwidth, Wally, but we did some work with the admin team in the fall, and we kind of aligned our process a little bit better, but it really needs a team to look at it again. Like a full team. So once we're through the strategic and the long range and those 2 processes, we'll try to put it, and it requires some teachers on it, and so that would be a good thing.
All right, let's make sure it didn't get dropped.
Yeah, I haven't
No, it
forgotten
hadn't been
about it,
dropped,
but
so.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Thank you for the reminder.
Okay, adjourned.